Hey, hello everybody, Natsu here. One of my friend on YouTube, he's called Grateful Buster. Yes, I know Fairy Tale Team. Anyway, um, he asked me to do a series that, well, I never even heard of before or seen anyone do a what if like that. The what if would be, what if Rimuru Tempest, the slime that got reincarnated, the guy that died and got reincarnated as a slime, from the show that time I got reincarnated as a slime. At the end of season 1 of the anime, got summoned as the shield hero. And to be honest, I really want to do it now, because no one even made something close to that. Someone that over freaking powered against a world of monsters. Rimuru's a monster himself, but a monster with the heart, conscience, and, well, literally all he wants to do is save and protect everyone, unless they attack him for no fucking reason. So, yeah. I'm gonna start it by, well, this, I'm gonna say the reason he got summoned to be the shield hero was that after helping the kids at the end of season 1, he started going back to the forest. Let's say that while he was going back, he found a caravan that was deserted with multiple books in it. He started reading some, looking what he could take back with him. Then he saw one that was weird. It was the same book that Naofumi found, but written in the language of the world he was in. So he was able to read it. Just like Naofumi, he was interested. He found it weird. He asked himself if a shield was a weapon. And then he arrived at the white pages, where, just like for Naofumi, they started shining. Ranga was going to try and catch Rimuru, but Rimuru disappeared without him even being able to get close. So yeah, Rimuru's not in that world anymore. Sorry for everyone that was going to die and that will die because of that, but yeah, he's not in that world anymore. So he was in his human form, and when he stopped blinking, he was still a slime, but in his human form, and had a shield on his arm. Then he looked around and saw 3 other guys that was one that was tall with a spear, a short blonde one with a bow, and a short blonde one with a sword, and one that was about middle of the 2 others that had black hairs and a bow. So, just like in the anime, they start asking questions. Rimuru asks Great Sage what's going on, and Great Sage tell him that it seems they were transported to another world. Rimuru said out loud, "Wait, another world again? I was reincarnated a second time?" He didn't say it out loud, in his head, but still, like, then The priest that summoned them told them what was happening, that they were summoned, that what was happening, and then they told them to come. They started talking together. They talked about games. Then they got sent to their rooms where they started talking about their history. Rimuru decided, after hearing them talk about Japan, decided to only talk about that, not about his powers or anything, because he wanted to know what was happening before anything happened. So then they asked him. He said he too was from Japan. Then they said, yeah, well, you seem to be the youngest one of us here. What's your age? Then Rimuru just said his age from before he was reincarnated the first time. Wait, no. He decided to say, he decided to say 18, which, if I remember correctly, would place him just under Motoyasu, but older than the two others. So they said, so you're just short, that's all. He said, yeah, that's pretty much it. So then they started talking about games. Rimuru in his old world knew about game. Literally, he was an otaku, partially, with a paying job, so he knew how games work. He didn't ask the same question of, and what with the shield, since all he knew was that, let's say in his world there was a game where, let's say there was a game where you could choose weapons, and there was a shield that you could choose. That with that shield was pretty good, let's say, when you use that. You are, in that game, yes, you are, it's not as good as other weapons, but it does mean you're able to at least stop a lot of hits, so making you kind of good anyway, and that you could attack with it. So then he saw his stats and saw that he was fucking strong for this world. Like, literally his stats were out of there. Because he decided to ask the others. They told him their stats, which were low as hell, in fact. Rimuru had stats that were like at least 10. Well, wait. In his world, demon lords are basically some of the strongest things. He's 10 times less powerful than one of the ones that was called the strongest one in terms of strength. So basically his stats are OP. Like, you don't get it. Anyone who tries to attack him, he can just kill them. As well as him having all of his skills that he had from his previous world. So they, after talking about history from their world and got that they weren't from the same place exactly, they were called to go see the king. Where it was with the king, everything happened basically the same. Him asking who they were, letting only the sword, spear, and bow talk before Rimuru could speak. Him saying it outright, why aren't you letting me talk? Then everything happens. Then they go to choose teams, and Rimuru just says it all outright. I don't need a team. Like when, well, actually, they chose team. When they opened their eyes, he was the only one who didn't have one. When she was about, sorry, all I can think of is that the name she has at the end of the first season. Mine? Malty. So Malty goes to try and say something, and he says, "No, I don't want you." Because Great Sage said, "I sense that she's lying a lot." So, before someone's able to say something, well, actually, someone asked what he means, that she doesn't want her. Then he said, basically, I don't need a team. I don't want one either. I'm okay. Which everyone's kind of thinking, wait, but you're just the shield. You don't have anything. You're gonna need a team. They say that to him, and he's like, I'm stronger than you think. You know? You didn't even ask me my stats when we were talking before. And they say, yeah, but you're just going to have everything in defense. Then he says, not really. To be honest, I'm stronger than you. Well, for now. Motoyasu already being proud of himself because spear, great attack, great distance. Just says, yeah, anyway, if you don't want anyone on your team, it doesn't really matter anyway. So then they say they could go, well, no, that happened before, the same thing with training, getting XP, whatever. So then Rimuru just kind of asks Great Sage, what can my shield do? While he's walking away, which she then explains all that she can find on the shield, even what the other three have, from what they know from their game, because Great Sage basically knows everything. So she told Rimuru everything it could do, eating monsters, but storing things, creating weapons. Then she says also, you're not going to be able to use any other weapon except your shield. Which Rimuru, if you watch the series, has a sword. So he's not going to be able to use that at all. So he's just keeping it because, yeah. So he goes to train for his first day. He goes in the forest. The king asked someone to watch what the shield was going to do. And Rimuru literally just knew that someone was there because of his aura. And just before leaving the place said, oh, also, I already have a skill. So don't try to look for me that much. And then just kind of start running as so fast that they can't even catch him. He just goes out like, what the hell? Catch him. Which they can't really do. So he goes training, starting by killing monsters, the same monsters as Naofumi, the bubbles. And after a while of doing that and feeding them to his shield, he's just thinking, wait, what am I doing? I also need to eat some. So literally one's coming to attack him, and he just kind of put his hand in front of him and black smoke absorb the ball. I would say before he did that, the person the king sent to look on him arrived and just saw him do that, which he was surprised. Then rimuru thought, wait, if I can feed the shield whatever I want to give him new powers and whatever, since if you remember correctly, rimuru did eat a lot of things. So since practically everything he ate goes in his storage, he just kind of put his hand over the ball and just started sending a massive amount of things in it. I mean the ball on his shield that lets him absorb stuff. After rimuru did that, he saw that there was a lot of things his shield had now, and he decided to do one of the things that Great Sage told him he could do with it, which was one of the things one of the other three told Naofumi, which was by using some of the elements you can boost your stat by making combination. So Rimuru asked Great Sage what combination would be the best, and she told him. So after a while, it started being dark, and he got back in town, where he saw Motoyasu and the other two, and they asked him, so how was the hunt? Then he said, well, I was able to get a good amount of XP at level 4, which they kind of asked, wait, how'd you get that far? You were alone. Then he says, yeah, well, like I said, I already have some skills that I can use. They're powerful too. Mine, who was told by the spy the same thing as the king, that he can make black smoke that eats stuff. She went and said, where did you get that skill, that magic? You were able to eat those balls just like that after a while by producing a black smoke. And he asked, what do you mean by that? How do you know? Then Great Sage said, the person we saw in the wood was probably a spy. Said, oh, so that's who the person was. You sent a spy to look on me. She was like, what? What do you mean by that? He said, well, I knew someone was looking at me while I was in the woods. I just didn't attack them because I thought that it was just someone that stayed close. Everyone was like, what the hell do you mean you sensed it? Then he said, well, I have a lot of magic in me. I can send it around me to help me see stuff, know what if people are there, hear things. So the reason I was able to get so much XP was basically just because I knew where her monsters were, which Malty, the bitch. Sorry, but that's literally going to be her name in the anime, and it's going to be the same fucking name in this one. Sorry. I have a headache right now. So, yeah. She told him that it was impossible. He didn't... No skills are like that. No magic. How did he get that? Then he said, because I was Simple. I got here with them. I thought those lying right now. He said I thought those three would have had different skills. Also, I can make that black smoke that can eat pretty much anything, and also massive speed, defense, strength, HP, and I can pretty much regenerate anything. They were just freaking surprised by that, and I would say that the one that was observing him kind of returned, and he went back to talk to the king about what he just heard, that basically the shield was the most powerful of them. Which, when the king heard that, he was mad. Then the night happens. Mine says, can I start saying stuff? Then rimuru tells her, look, I'm not even going to sleep. I don't need to. Where I come from, I spent so long I spent so long working on stuff. I can pass days without sleeping. I'm not even tired, and I slept like an hour. I woke up 1 hour before being summoned. I don't need sleep. I'm actually going to back outside to hunt. So, the thing where she tries to accuse him of having raped her won't happen, because he won't even be there. Like, people saw him leave. So, even if she would try to say he did it, nothing would happen. After he left, during the night, the king arrived to try and do something to him, because he doesn't like him at all. Then, when they asked people where he was, they just said, well, he already left. He just came to eat and left back outside. Which, this time, since he was alone, he looked at if he could use every skill he had. So, he transformed back into a slime. He ate a rock to see if he could separate stuff again. He tried practically everything: transformation, flames, black flame, black thunder, every other things like that. Then he saw a monster underground that seems to be hurt, but not aggressive. He thought about it and decided to see if he could still give name to monsters and make them grow. I'm gonna say just because of how his body is, he's able to do that. The thing is, it doesn't work exactly the same. If you name a monster that doesn't have like intelligence of speech in the show, well, no, if you're not strong enough to kind of evolve them to a big points, they just kind of grow and becomes another monster that kind of like the same but get new skills. Rimuru, when he names people, Lily give them a part of his skills and power. So every time he names someone, it's basically a multiplier for them that is massive. So, yeah, Rimuru tries to name the monster. He sends his magic being taken, not that much since it's just small monsters. Let's say it was some kind of small wolf. He just named him Ranka because they told him that he was not going to go back. So he was at least trying to still get a wolf or something, just to kind of have his friends. And the next day, since he just wanted to go train, well, see if he could do it, and he still slept because, let's say, after the small amount of magical he used, he wanted to wait, so he just slept it off. When he woke up, the wolf was a tad bigger, like, let's say, the size of the wolf the dire wolf when he first met them. Let's say it's about that size now. And is literally just loyal to Rimuru. I know it's not like that it works in that world, but it's something that Rimuru can literally do. So he did that after a bit of training in the forest. He started going back to the city, but this time he asked the wolf to enter his shadow. Because let's say during the training he saw he had that skill. So the wolf entered his shadow, he transformed back into his human form and went back into the city. So in the city the next morning, he heard something happened, and that a guy with silver hair, attacked the princess. So they're trying to say that he entered back in and left because they gave a precise description of him. So when he was brought to the king and everyone was hearing about it, literally in front of the king he said, "I wouldn't even try to rape her." He said, "Oh yeah, and why?" And if you saw the show, you know that in his human form, he's, just like in his slime form, he doesn't have a dick or whatever. So he just literally stripped down and said, "Because literally, I don't need to do it. I don't want it, and I don't even have what I would need to even try it." Literally, everyone was like, "What the hell?" He said, "I was born like that, so don't really need to worry about it." Like, all they thought was, wait, so he wouldn't even have tried it. Well, not Motoyasu, but the two others thought, we saw that all he really wants to do is train and become stronger. He also said he was stronger than us and didn't even want to be close to anyone. Which the king just says, yeah, so it gives him a better alibi to say that he didn't do it. Motoyasu, like he is, just says he must have done it. Even though he doesn't have the dick, he can still do other things to her. Which he then said, "I didn't even do anything, and all night I was training a wolf." And one kind of looked at him like, what? Then he said, "Yeah, well, look." He said, "You can come out." And the wolf jumped out of his shadow and just kind of sit next to Rimuru. And one was like, what the hell? Where that wolf came from? And what did you do? And why did you bring that monster here? He said, "That monster is called Ranga. If you try to attack him, you pass through me." Which one of the soldiers just kind of tried to go and kill him. And Rimuru just placed himself in front, took the hit, like in the middle of the chest with a spear, and didn't even flinch. When the guy got back, all they saw was some type of blue liquid, kind of closing the wound, and even on the clothes, which they just said, what the hell. Then he said, like I said before, I got multiple skills when I arrived here. I can heal, I'm very powerful, I can eat stuff. And I tried something and it worked. So he brought the wolf back in, and I'm gonna end it here. In that world, since the only ones that saw it, that didn't have a dick or whatever, were some soldiers, the king, the princess, and the heroes with their companions. Well, no, not even with them. So basically it was really confined. So others still think he did it because he's not going to strip down in the middle of nowhere of the town and do that. So he said, look, tell people whatever the hell you want. The only things I know is that from where I come from, I try to help everyone. You stopped me from doing that. So now I'm trying to help this place. And if you get in my way, I'm going to stop you. There's no other way but for that. I'm ready to kill for my friends. And I'm not afraid to kill humans. Which, well, everyone in the court got scared about that. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. That was part 1 of what if Rimuru got summoned as the shield hero. And yeah, Natsu